What's up? Welcome back to Nowstalgia. Dave here with a review of The Boys Season 4 on Amazon Prime Video, out now in full. This is the penultimate season to the black comedy satirical superhero series that, of course, has been a massive hit for years now on Amazon and was following up the first live-action spin-off of the series in Gen V, which came out last year. Spin-off, I thought, worked pretty well, was quite successful, a nice expansion of the world, so to speak, and did come back around in this season of The Boys at least a little bit. The Boys Season 4 is the least successful season of The Boys from a character development and plot progression standpoint. I still enjoyed my time with this season, and I especially enjoyed the finale and where this penultimate season has now left us. We have really rapidly approached the end game of The Boys, which I think makes a lot of sense in terms of where these characters have been, where they are now. It's time to wrap things up. Anthony Starr remains incredible as Homelander. Unfortunately, the newcomers to The Boys Season 4 fell pretty flat for me. Firecracker was just too similar to Stormfront, and Sister Sage as a character had a lot of potential, but just didn't really manifest itself in as noticeable ways as I was expecting. Of course, the satire in The Boys is very on the nose, very obvious, but still makes you feel a bit uneasy in terms of noticing that familiarity. And there's certainly enough lingering threads and open questions for the final season that I think makes its prospect very exciting. In terms of what works best in The Boys Season 4, I actually think Kimiko gets a lot of great moments and, fine tuning to the character development. No one really grows super much as a character this season, but I really enjoy the Kimiko character. I think Karen Fukuhara is really great in this role, despite the fact she doesn't speak on the show. She does a really good job. The other side of that coin, though, is Frenchie. I thought this was a really bad Frenchie season. The first half, obviously, his guilt and his personal relationships, I just feel like that all felt really flat, just not done well at all. Some of the other supporting characters, I think it's an okay season for It's an okay season for Huey. I think the big development for him really is the passing of his dad, played, of course, by Simon Pegg. And I think actually the moments where he briefly comes back to full strength when he gets some Temp V in the hospital and then starts killing people, I think that was a really done really well, honestly. And you knew in the end Huey would let him go the way he did, but I actually think that came together in a pretty nice way. I also enjoyed Huey being being captured by Tech Knight from Gen V. Wasn't expecting Tech Knight to be so integral to that one episode, the way he was when Huey gets trapped in the sex dungeon, ostensibly. I also enjoyed Huey kind of being a pawn of the shapeshifter soup, who manipulates him by taking Annie's appearance and whatnot. Annie Starlight, she doesn't change too much this season. I guess the closest stuff is really just like Firecracker having a personal vendetta and having that be revealed early on, and just Starlight continuing to get a lot of abuse as the kind of figurehead antithesis to Homelander and his supporters. Funny enough, the new Black Noir, the new guy playing Black Noir, listening to him speak and express issue with his lack of motivation in the character. I actually thought that was pretty funny and a little bit of fun flavor for the Black Noir character. And I think a nice touch on, the creator's part in that this is still the same actor playing Noir. Now he actually gets to speak and act a little bit more. I think it's a pretty solid season for the Deep. Chase Crawford is really committed in this role. The Deep is still a joke, obviously, but they've done a really nice job over the seasons to kind of humanize and put him in a lot of gray, despite the fact that he's a dipshit, obviously, and firmly still a bad guy. On the other side of that, of course, you have A-Train, Jesse Usher, definitely starting to shift allegiances, feeling like he can't put up with the bad things he's asked to do. I would have liked more with that, like more time with A-Train's psyche, to be honest, but I'm happy to see that progress. Similarly, same thing with Ashley over at Vought, obviously, who really takes matters into her own hand at the very end as Homelander is openly purging the company, and she takes some Temp V to help survive. Exciting. For a long while, I was expecting Butcher to die or be very near death and probably die in the finale. I didn't think they would kill him this season. I was not really expecting what happened in the finale where he gets shot up again and is able to take out Victoria Newman the way he does. That was certainly a bombshell moment. And of course, having Newman's death not actually get in the way of Homelander's grand plan to take over the country and the world and whatnot, and soup supremacy and all that kind of stuff. It actually worked out even better. And unfortunately, like that quote plan of Sister Sage, the way she breaks it down to Homelander in the finale, it just didn't really come across consistently enough as Sage's schemes. I don't know. I think there's still room for that character to be developed better in the final season, but like it just didn't quite land as well as I wanted it to this time around, despite the fact that she was in and around the plot pretty consistently. The stuff with Homelander's son Ryan, that's still very much up and down in terms of him being a very fragile character who was being manipulated on all sides effectively, good and bad, and what's going to happen with him. Like the performance is intentionally like very reserved and awkward, and he's a bit of a tough sit at times. Honestly, I understand why it's the way it is, but it's a bit tough to be with sometimes. Of course, Homelander, a lot of great stuff with him. I think when he goes back to the people who created him and torments them before slaughtering them, that was pretty effective. When he basically talks to himself in split personality mode in terms of the cracked mirror, a la Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin, that was really nice. We've really shifted to a different stage, obviously, by the finale, where martial law is in effect. Soups are rounding up dissidents, and then we see the Gen V, bad guys who were established at the end of Gen V are very much like servants of Homelander. I'm curious what happens with Gen V Season 2, which of course is coming, as we know. I would think that would come before The Boys Season 5 comes out, because it's in development. Of course, the death of Chase Perdomo put a bit of a wrinkle in that, but if Gen V is to come back, you have the people on the run, the good guys and the bad guys. It would very much fit right into this new world that The Boys established leading up into its final season. So it would actually feel even more integral if we get that spin-off season before The Boys Season 5. We'll see. We have The Boys being split up at the end of the finale, but then all of them being captured with the exception of Starlight and Butcher, who didn't split, I guess. I forget. I feel like that's the kind of thing that's going to get resolved very quickly in the beginning of the final season, like stuff like that often does. Like, they won't stay captured for long, as we know. But the fact that the world's a very different place now as we enter this end game, it's pretty tantalizing, right? Because it just leans into the fear that Homelander is able to invoke and the familiarity that, of course, we see in him as an authoritarian fascist person who's also effectively invincible. And the tease, the mid-credits tease of Soldier Boy still being out there and in stasis once again, but now under the control, seemingly, of Homelander's probably inability to leave him alone, hopefully, you would think, comes back into play in that final season, I would have to imagine. But yeah, ultimately, The Boys Season 4, it was very much the means to an end type season, in the sense that this was a show probably originally conceived as 4 seasons, stretched to 5 due to its hit nature. So the plotting that's going to happen in season 5 was long since established, and they kind of had to stretch things out. You'd have to imagine the show's gone that way, similar to what happened with The Bear, going from 3 seasons to 4. I'm still very much anticipating season 5. I think the finale did a really good job of getting you re-excited for that. And I'm also pretty eager about Gen V season 2, to be honest, as well. But let me know, what was your favorite moment about The Boys season 4? What did you think worked the best? What was your favorite new thing about it? And for more TV reviews, subscribe. And I'll see you next time.